Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Deal with D and J. I'm co-host Jacob Pearl. Alongside me is the Spinnaker Swiss Army knife himself, Drew McDonald. Drew, how are we feeling tonight? I see you repping the North Florida hoodie, the alma mater. You know what it is. Drew, talk to me. How are we feeling? It's been a while since we had you on the pod here, so it's good to welcome you back. DJ taking a little break this week. Not by choice. Unfortunately, work got to him. But, Drew, how are we feeling?
Well, Jacob, say his name and he appears. I believe in Drew McDonald. Thank you, Jacob, for the invite for the show. Also, be back on this D&J special podcast, watching my own Ospreys tonight play Wofford. No dub, but always good to see the ASUN Darlings in action. But excited for tonight's episode with you, Jacob, on our topics.
Yeah, man. I mean, we're recording on a Wednesday night, an absolute sicko night for some college basketball. UConn's currently on a 17-5 run. Alex Caravan, Grandpa Father Time, hits a big three to get UConn within one. Arizona calls a timeout here, so we'll be live reacting to this game as we go here. At least I will be. But let's start with the NFL here. Drew, we're getting into what I would like to call chaos mode, where I think DJ said it on the TikTok the other day, but we're starting to reach the range of we don't know anything anymore, right?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
The Colts are an incredible story. I think you were high on the Colts to begin the year, and they're this crazy surge. So having these surprise teams like the Colts, the Broncos are leading the charge. It's you never know who's going to make that big jump at the season. And to see those teams kind of surprise us has kind of been fun to see. Also, the Jaguars are in the playoff picture right now. So, it's how cool is that to see the Duval Jaguars in the playoff picture?
Not only are the Jags inside the playoff picture, but the Kansas City Chiefs are currently on the outside of the playoff picture. If the playoffs were to end today, right, your 1 seed would be the Denver Broncos. 2 seed would be the New England Patriots. That's right, the dynasty is back. The Indianapolis Colts get the 3. The Steelers get the 4. The Bills get the 5. The Chargers get the 6. And the Jaguars take the last spot at 6-4 in Liam Cohen's first year. Houston is ahead of Kansas City as well. So Kansas City is not only behind the Jags, but behind the Texans. And in the mix here, you still have the Ravens at 5-5. The Dolphins have kind of put it together over the last stretch of games. So we have some chaos happening here in the AFC. And I don't really know what's going on with the Chiefs. Let's start there. UConn hits a big 3, ties the game up. But, let's start with the Chiefs. And for them, it feels like the Spagnuolo defense has kind of been figured out a little bit. Right? It feels like, and the offensive firepower is really hurting. Like, them not having a running back, like a true bell cow, because Pacheco has kind of been all over the place with Kareem Hunt. I think you're getting a culmination of things. I think a lot of people have started to kind of figure out Mahomes, which is what? You pressure him. You pressure. And the AFC West, every team is built to beat the Chiefs minus the Raiders. So, there are incredible, interesting nuances going on inside of the AFC West. What are you seeing with the Chiefs besides what I've been watching with them?
I say week one, they're in Brazil playing the Chargers, that crazy YouTube broadcast game. And, while it's done to see them lose the Chargers week one, this is AFC champion team from last year. The same group of people and folks left from the team this year. But yeah, Justin Herbert kind of showed himself as like a quarterback. So seeing how they kind of crumbled in that first week in Brazil, and then they also lost to the Jaguars, and then that really big battle with the Bills that were basically Mahomes got sacked 6 times against Buffalo. So but it's that the offensive line is allowing the sacks to Mahomes. It's not the team we saw last year, and we're seeing also new talented teams rise within which given the Broncos, the Chargers, the Jaguars beat them in Duval on the craziest Trevor Lawrence touchdown stumble/score. So it's a weird 5-5 team, but I still trust Mahomes though. Kind of.
Yeah, I think you still have to trust Mahomes. I still think you have to trust Kansas City that they're going to figure it out. Right? I don't know if the secondary is the same as it's been prior to what this season has been. Chris Jones is still elite. and Karlaftis is really good, but it just seems like everyone has kind of been able to figure out the Chiefs now, right? Like you lose to the Jags, they started the season off 0-2, right? You lost to the Broncos and you've lost to the Chargers. Like you're currently 1-2 in the division, right? Some things are a little bit uncharacteristic of them at the moment, but I think with the Chiefs, it's Mahomes is playing superhero like, but now you're kind of looking at him and you're like, man, besides Rice and Kelsey, who else is really it on offense? They haven't really unlocked Worthy again like they did last year, right? And the run game is non-existent.
Yeah, Juju's kind of like non-existent either, so it's like a weird just collection of characters or receiver, but just it's hard to trust them. But they always seem to like do like find a way to get in the playoffs late in the seasons. I'm curious to see how they're gonna unfold, especially with their game against the Colts this week.
Exciting stuff. Let's talk about the Colts. What an unsung team this has been. Jonathan Taylor is MVP level Herculean. Like, oh my, like we thought Saquon was impressive last year, and Jonathan Taylor is on pace to blow that out of the water. Jonathan Taylor on the season currently has 1,139 yards, 15 touchdowns, right? And he also has 260 receiving yards and 2 receiving touchdowns as well. So he has 17 total touchdowns. He averages 6 yards a carry, eight big touchdowns. Didn't even know that was a stat, but here we go. He has 0 fumbles on the year. Actually, no, I lied to you. He has 1 fumble on the year. And it's incredible what he's done for this team. And we could talk about Daniel Jones all we want, which, one, Daniel Jones has been nothing short of impressive this year. He really, really has. But Jonathan Taylor is a difference maker for this team, and it doesn't matter how you can stop it. You felt it yourself as a Falcons fan. Talk to me about seeing Jonathan Taylor, where you feel like you have him bottled up. You feel like you've done a good job all game, but the problem is good enough isn't good enough.
I got up at 8 a.m. on a Sunday for this game in London. I got my coffee, my donuts, and I stayed for football. And I watched Jonathan Taylor just shred the Falcons defense like Swiss cheese. It was unfair. It was a crime. This man just went through our defense like no one's business. And we're talking about whole offensive issues. Just like he's such a game wrecker in this league. It's kind of like the Saquon kind of feeling of last year. I guess equivocate it to this year. But also just to go further into Daniel Jones, bring the ball to Michael Pittman and Alec Pierce and Tyler Warren. It's just like the offense is humming for that team. And it's fun to watch them, well, I guess my team, but I guess other teams progress. So it's a great surprise team, and I'm really excited to see how far they can go in the playoffs if they continue to win at this rate.
Yeah, man, and the defense has been really impressive for the Colts too. I mean, it's I think a culmination of you finally, and one, let's just say it, Miss Irsay, Gordon Irsay, Carly, one of the best. She's establishing herself as one of the best GMs in football. Cares about her team, she is in there every day. And she made an aggressive trade getting Sauce Gardner, right? Cam Bynum is an incredible safety. The offense, you finally just have enough pieces of Warren, Pierce, Pittman, and Downs, right? You have a beautiful culmination of the big three with Warren. You have a home run running back, and you have a quarterback who really, unless he's under an incredible amount of pressure, doesn't really put you in bad positions. Because this is a different day. He runs. He's the second leading rusher on the team. He doesn't, like, we used to not say that about Daniel Jones, but now I think, again, it's the New York Giants in the New York market sucks. And Sam Darnold's been great, which we'll touch upon the Seahawks here too. But the Colts, man, are legit. Before we touch upon the Seahawks, another AFC team I want to talk about, probably a team way, way, way ahead of schedule, but a team also benefiting from their schedule, is the New England Patriots and the Mayflower. Drake May, also MVP level like season. He has been nothing short of incredible. If you've had him in fantasy football, you're having a great time. He has been incredible for the Patriots. The Patriots have won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They have won 8 straight. And they have won 8 straight not only against some really bad teams like the Saints and the Titans and the Browns, but they've also beaten the Bills, and they've also beaten the Falcons and the Bucks. They've beaten 3 teams who are really good as well.
Falcons not good, you know.
Well, at the time, this was when the Falcons had this big win somewhere.
Yeah.
But they're ripping off real high quality wins, and it's just Drake May's just not putting the ball in harm's way. He currently has a 4-to-1 touchdown interception ratio. He has 20 touchdowns to 5 interceptions passing. He is getting to where he needs to be. And he looks good. He runs the ball. He's second on the team in rushing at 285 yards rushing, 2,800 yards passing. And he's doing it with a very lackluster wide receiver core on paper of Stephon Diggs, Kayshon Boutte, Hunter Henry, and Mack Hollins. It's not exactly, smuggler's gold. But the Patriots defense and the Mike Vrabel, the fact that he got fired and was on the market for as long as he was, is mind-boggling to me. Because look what he's done now. Look what he has done with the New England Patriots.
Yeah, Vrabel's kind of like the nose leader of men guy you could really picture. He's a former Patriot guy. It's a legend for that franchise. Comes and brings back Matt Patricia to the offensive coordinator. Brings back Doug Marrone, former Jaguars coach, big offensive lineman coach. Kind of instilled a great culture into that team, and you're seeing a really great sophomore year from Drake May. His quick pocket presence. He does make those young mistakes of fumbles and bad decisions, but it's kind of part of his growth as a quarterback. But you mentioned the roster's not that deep. You have Mack Hollins, Stephon Diggs, Pop Douglas as well. It's not a murderer's row of guys, but he finds ways to win the games. And the defense secondary has been suspect recently, but just shows offense has been so dominant in these past weeks. They're kind of the favorite, I think, to go the farthest in the AFC. But curious to see how the Buffalo Bills will kind of catch up to them if possible late in the year.
Yeah, I think in the Patriots, just when you watch them, they're so smooth. They don't do anything sexy. They just do everything good. And Josh McDaniels being the OC again, that's kind of where he needs to be as an offensive coordinator. The Broncos, behind Vance Joseph's incredible defense, are also winners of, I believe, 7 straight now as well. Taking on the Chiefs, Cowboys, Eagles. Right, they've had some good quality wins, but Bo Nix is a roller coaster ride. It's not exactly Bo Nix is good. Bo Nix is exciting. I still like Bo Nix, and a lot of other people do, but it's a roller coaster ride if you're with Bo Nix. Let's talk about the last 3 games, or the last 4 games. 247, 4 touchdowns and interception, 117 passer rating. Then goes to Houston. Houston's a good defense, but was 48.7 completion percentage, 173 yards, 2 touchdowns and interceptions, 68.9 rating, 150 passing, 57 completion percentage, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, 54 quarterback rating against the Raiders, who they beat 10-7, and then against the Chiefs, 295, no touchdowns, no interceptions, 89.4 quarterback ranking. So the Bo Nix experience is thriving in Denver right now.
He's very streaky, but the really strong defense within Patrick and also Nick Nato is probably one of the best linebackers in the NFL right now. It's Nato, so having that great defense got to help them out in those kind of lean games has been key for them. But I really don't like watching Sean Payton succeed as a Falcons fan, but they are definitely building something they can definitely have a foundation for years to come.
Absolutely. I think Denver is great right now. The Steelers are just so... I hate the Steelers. I've been over this. I think they're so unsexy. I hate the way they play football. It's so dumb. But, so, what happened here as we're watching the game? UConn guy went in. He gets fouled. Tried to get the and one. The ball doesn't go in. Shoots his first free throw. Misses the free throw. So now he has to purposely miss this free throw. He has been 33% on the year. Oh my god, dude. Oh boy.
What's the score now?
UConn lost this game.
Yikes.
UConn lost. Arizona's going to go shoot 2 free throws. Arizona's up 3. What a game, though. This game has been nothing short of exciting. Let's talk about the NFC here. Sorry for the tangent. This is Murderer's Row, Drew. Just Murderer's Row. Eagles and Rams are tied for the top, but the Eagles have the tiebreaker. The Bears are leading the NFC North at 7-3. The Bucks are 6-4. The Seahawks are 7-3. The Packers and the Niners hold the last 2 spots. The Lions, the Panthers are on the outside looking in, and the Cowboys and Vikings have a lot of room to make up on this team, on this playoff. Let's talk about the Eagles. The Eagles haven't been sexy. They haven't been great, right? You're not exactly loving how they've won games. Jalen Hurts some days is great, and Jalen Hurts some days is bad. The run game isn't the same. Lane Johnson's out for a couple weeks now. And yeah, A.J. Brown's complaining. You don't really know what's happening in Philadelphia other than that they're just hanging in there. So, listen, but the defense has stepped up, though. They went and got Jalen Phillips, and that defense has really turned it on the last couple weeks, especially since getting Nakobe Dean back.
Yes, and mostly a similar roster to last year. It's kind of like a good year for Saquon Barkley, but a good year for him. Not as crazy last 20,000 plus yard season. I think just having that consistent offense with Hurts, Barkley, Smith, Goddard, and Brown's been great. Having the meetings has not been great. The players only meetings, the owner meetings, like it's a weird kind of like drama within that offense with Brown and those playmakers. But I think defense has been strong. Like you said, Jordan Davis has been a crazy athlete. Had that crazy blocked field goal for a touchdown early in the season was nuts. So like it's crazy how impressive they've been as a defense, kind of carry this team. But I'm curious to see how they can actually do in the playoffs this season.
I love what the Rams have done. They've just hit on so many guys in the draft for them, and they just continue to do a great job scouting. I've been incredibly impressed with the Bears. Caleb Williams hasn't looked the best, but he's not being put in positions of, like, he has to go and win it all the time. Like, they have a really good run game with Monangai and Swift. You have Odunze, Moore, Loveland. Like, you have a lot of weapons, but then the defense has done really well for them as well, right? There's a numerous number of interceptions. Like, they have 15 interceptions on the year as a team. Like, they are absolutely getting after quarterbacks to cause that. They have 21 sacks on the year, right? The defense is complementing the offense when that doesn't really come into play, because Caleb's numbers aren't great. 300 yards, 59% completion percent, 232 yards a game. Like it's a little bit all over the place, but it still is not. It's still for the Bears ahead of schedule, way ahead of schedule, and I'm really interested to see if they can maintain it when we get into the dog days of the season here in that like Thanksgiving, early December window, where it's like, hey, you can't sleep in these games. Like you can lose one, but you can't lose a string of them. But the Bears are sitting high in the NFC North. Moving forward, the Bucks, they just get a tough schedule. And luckily the conference is so bad, minus the Panthers who are kind of like making some noise. But their losses have been to the Eagles, Lions, Patriots, and Bills, all in shootouts. So minus the Lions game, they kind of got shut down in that game. But I'm not worried about the Bucks. Before I move on to the wildcard teams, any thoughts on those two, Drew?
The Bucks defense has been horrid. So you've seen these high-scoring games might kind of hurt them in the behind later in the year. I think losing Evans and Godwin has kind of been huge for them, but you also saw a surge in Egbuka this year, and Tez Johnson, this crazy, super fast guy, can do backflips to the end zone. So like they're an exciting team to watch with defense is very suspect. So if they can't correct that in December, it might be a trouble getting the playoffs.
Seattle has been really good. Sam Darnold is slinging the rock. The emergence of Jackson Smith and Njigba has been not surprising, if we're being quite honest. But it's the significant gap between Njigba and Cooper Kupp it's 800 yards difference. Like they are going crazy. crazy with Jackson Smith-Njigba. The run game has been okay, right? Sam Darnold's done solid, 2,500 yards. The touchdown-interception ratio is less to be desired. But it's the defense, man, of Seattle that is brutal. 9 interceptions from Seattle. 32 total sacks on the year with over 800 solo tackles. And they are just getting after guys. Like, Emery has been a perfect fit. Byron Murphy has been a perfect fit. Leonard Williams has been a perfect fit. Right? We look at their sack leader, and they have Uchenna Nwosu, the linebacker, has been a perfect fit. Like, these guys are getting after the quarterbacks and having big moments for the Seahawks, and the secondary is a tough secondary to get after. The Packers are confusing to me. Are they confusing to you?
It's work like they tied the Cowboys in a weird night game. It's a weird team. I think also adding Parsons was huge for them for the pass rush. It's been incredible, but just Jordan Love's been interesting to watch. They kind of their receiver injuries, but Christian Watson's been good as of late, but they're not like a standalone favorite, I think. They're kind of like a frisky, a lower seed playoff team, I think.
I think with the Packers, I don't know what's going on. Like, the defense isn't, like, you have Micah Parsons. You added him to a really good defense. But the defense didn't get better. Like, I'm confused by the defense. I've not been impressed with Jordan Love lately. He hasn't been great. In the run game has been okay. The lack of having a true number one receiver still really hurts. But again, they're starting to develop. Like, Jordan Love had in his last 4 games, 360 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Played the Panthers, 273, no touchdowns, 1 interception. Played the Eagles, 176, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Played the Giants, 174, touchdowns, no interceptions. So I really don't know what's going on with Jordan Love right now. It's always this yo-yo effect. He's incredible in the month of September, and then he cools off really hard. And then the Niners, man, I swear, they just sacrifice a player every week to keep Christian McCaffrey healthy. That's my logic.
They got Kittle, they lost Purdy, they lost Javon Jennings, and Ricky Pearsall was a constant carousel of injuries. But it's Brock's back, so maybe they can make an upper swing late, But we saw the Mac Jones experience wasn't like amazing, but he kind of carried them a little bit through the season. I don't feel strongly about them in the playoffs, but they can maybe salvage, I guess, a winning season, I guess.
Yeah. Lions and Panthers on the outside looking in. The Lions have reverted to Dan Campbell to call the offensive plays, and the offense has kind of looked better for it. The defense has been a little all over the place still, but Aiden Hutchinson's still a dog. Carolina Panthers, man, have impressed me a lot. They're beating up on they've got some good wins. They've got some bad losses, a.k.a. losing to the Saints. So they're a solid team. You can't sleep on them, especially with Rico Dowdle at the helm. You can't sleep on them. And then last little bit here with the Minnesota Vikings, obviously my team. Yeah, I don't have an answer for you. It's J.J. McCarthy has to learn how to be accurate. And once he does that, Minnesota's good again. We don't have a run game. The offensive line that we supposedly retooled isn't that good. And then the defense can't carry it all. But I will say, JJ, when it came to like big moments, has stepped up in those big moments. Like the Lions game, for example. In this Bears game this past weekend, he was right there. The defense didn't show up for the Bears game, which is sometimes that's the way the cookie crumbles, man. Before we stop there, Drew, talk to me about what's going on in Atlanta before we move on to the college football, because with Atlanta, they should be much better than they are. And me and you have had this conversation. Because you know what I want? And selfishly I've said this, but it is a real thing. Use Bijan Robinson. He is incredible. Look at he should be used the way the Niners use Christian McCaffrey. And then you mix in Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Darnell Mooney. Then, when it's time to salt the game away, then you can mix in Algier. 3rd and 1, Algier. 3rd and 1 on the goal line, Algier. But not Algier in the middle of the second quarter when you should be using Bijan marching down the field.
So they've lost five straight. They've lost five straight right now. The Falcons, and they've lost Penix for the year with the ACL injury. Drake London's out for numerous weeks with an injury as well. The roster is nuts. You have crazy talent, like you said, London, Penix, Bijan, Kyle Pitts. Mooney's a good, serviceable number 2 guy. The lineman you have, Chris Lindstrom, one of the best regards in the NFL. And then you also added 2 new edge rushers and Jenna Walker and James Pierce from the draft. Like, they built themselves for success, in theory. But they have not done well. It's Penix. Penix has shown some flashes this year. Like, he can be good. He's not there yet, but he can be good. Algier is good. He's a great power back. He can definitely get to those short yard gains, but not using Bijan correctly. Raheem Morris has been a terrible play caller and clock management guy. It's been rough for the Falcons the past 2 years. They are now 3-7. They're looking probably down the barrel of a losing season again. They have the Aints this week with Kirk Cousins as the quarterback, so it's gonna be a rough one for us again against the rival team at home in Atlanta. So it's not a great time in the 404. Also, first round picks next year, we have 0. So we have no upside for next year.
You have no first round picks. You're currently looking at 3-7 in your starting quarterback that you also spent a top 10 pick on. Hasn't been great either. Like, Michael Penix hasn't taken the big step forward.
He can be good. He can be good.
He can be good, but this was my issue with the Falcons when they drafted Penix, is that it's, again, what's the saying? What's the saying, Drew? When you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none. I'll finish it for you. You have 2 quarterbacks in Atlanta, and you can't have that as a franchise. Especially when you confuse your fan base. You confuse your fan base when you sign Kirk Cousins, who for the most part has been really good. You sign him to this big contract, and then you go out of your way and you draft Michael Penix, who's essentially his replacement. And it's like, okay, like you're drafting an insurance policy on Kirk Cousins, but now Kirk Cousins is the insurance policy to Michael Penix. And that's not how it should have gone. The problem is you have the talent, like you said. You now don't have any draft picks next season. So, like, what are you going to do? Are you going to retool? Like, what are you going to do in the offseason?
You're going to fire Raheem Morris, that's for sure.
You need to fire Raheem Morris. He's a big issue. He's a defensive-minded coach, and the defense at times has been really good, but he obviously can't coach an offense. It's a criminal offense what he's done to Bijan Robinson. Like, we both can call it what it is. You loved Tyler Algier.
He's a good power back.
He is a good power back, but guess what? There's no reason in this earth that Bijan Robinson shouldn't already have 1,000 yards rushing. And Bijan currently is second in the team in receiving yards.
If you want to get laughed, Jacob, guess who the Falcons signed today to practice squad?
Who?
Kyle Trask.
I'll put in Kyle Trask, dude. I saw a Jason Aldean clip of Kyle Trask, and I was like, this guy was electric. He is getting that McCaffrey usage numbers-wise, but not nearly enough. Not nearly enough.
He's kind of like, I'll say like a Forte kind of guy. Not Forte, kind of like combination of receiving and rushing kind of guy was great for the team, but just like, they're a dumpster fire now, man. And the kickers they've used, Koo this year, Parker Romo, and Zay Gonzalez. 3 kickers in, 10 weeks? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, that's really tough. It's going to be a tough one to survive there. Let's move on here. The college football playoff ranking came out on Tuesday, and I personally have a lot of issues. I personally will be getting on some soapboxes here. But for you, Drew, I'm going to let you take the floor. I'm going to let you say your piece before I go full Josh Pate.
I kind of brushed up on it today, Jacob, at some articles. Just, I think seeing these crazy wins have kind of catapulted some teams into the top 10, like looking at Oklahoma, for example, and it's crazy seeing this late movement into the playoff picture, I don't like seeing Georgia at 4 because I don't like Georgia, period, but they're there. I'm really excited, though, for this week with the Oregon-USC game, for possible shake-up there, but seeing 3 2-loss teams in the top 10 does seem kind of suspect. So Jacob, I'll turn to you. What do you say of those 3 2-loss teams in the top 10?
They don't have, and I hate to say this, and this is really bad, because you shouldn't have bad wins, good losses, bad losses, but they don't have bad losses. Minus Alabama, right? Alabama has the big bad loss of Florida State, right? But Oklahoma's loss is to Texas, who is ranked, and to Ole Miss, who is a top 10. And Notre Dame's loss was to A&M, and the other loss was to Miami. I think the committee has those teams right. I think those teams are still better than a lot of the other teams in front of them. But I think the order of which they are still mixed up. Like, I don't think Oregon's a number 7 team in the country. When you watch them, they are nothing short of just disappointing offensively. Now, I like Dante Moore, and I like the way he plays. But the offense just, like, they should be crushing teams. And I just don't like the way the defense is played. Like, congrats, you beat up on Minnesota, like most teams do, but you struggled against Wisconsin. I'll give you credit at Iowa's a tough place to play. Like, you struggled against a good Penn State team at the time, but Indiana was your one game to, like, you know, and the rest, we're going to see how they look against USC. This is going to be a big test for me as a fan of being like, okay, second, this is your third real opponent, because I kind of disregard the Penn State game now. Show me what you got.
Yeah, it's really curious to see how it's going to all unfold in the coming weeks, Jacob. But while I'm here, I'm your resident Haynes King stan, and I wanted to see your Jacob, like, what have you seen from Haynes King, the Heisman favorite this year for the season?
He's not my Heisman favorite, but he's pretty dang close. I mean, I will say this. I do not understand the Georgia Tech disrespect.
Thank you, Jacob.
I guess because you have to, like, if you're going to reward Notre Dame, I guess in the same vein you have to reward Miami. But, like, Miami, and this is where I have to remind people, is that there's still, like, 4 automatic bids up for grabs. It's not the highest, like, the only thing that changed is that the top 4 is the top 4 teams. It's no longer the top, like, so Miami shouldn't even be in this as of right now. They need a lot of help to get to the championship. I like Haynes King, man. He puts his shoulder down. He runs through people. He takes care of the ball. Right now he's got 10 touchdowns to 2 interceptions, 800 yards on the ground, 2,200 yards. Like, any other year, he's a Heisman winner. And yet, I just don't think Haynes King has had that moment yet. And I don't think he's going to get that moment until Georgia. Like, if he can go in and beat Georgia, I think everything changes. Because I think...
And he was so close last year to being Georgia.
He was, man. I still like Haynes King a lot. But he's plus 3,500 right now. Like, Diego Pavia's ahead of him. That's disrespectful. Disrespectful. Fernando Mendoza,
character,
like, only has 400 more passing yards than him and has less, like, incredibly less rushing yards. I still think Mendoza is my favorite just because of what he's been able to do with Indiana. I love the way he looks. He's had the moment. He stepped up big. I don't think Julian Sayin should win. He hasn't really impressed me. Dante Moore hasn't impressed me. I think when you look at the numbers and when you watch college football, like, Haynes King any other year should be the Heisman winner. But the problem is it's a media competition now, and the media, for some odd reason, just hates Georgia Tech.
Because, like, can any casual fan name a single Georgia Tech running back, receiver, tight end right now on the team? Like, it's probably not. Like, he's kind of like, in a sense, I guess, like, the Josh Allen of his team. He carries his team, like, to the end zone anytime he gets, So they have to play Pitt this Saturday at a prime time. If they win that game, they'll probably get to their conference championship game. Probably play against Virginia later on. They also got to face Georgia next Saturday, I think. So it's gonna be a crazy tough 2 weeks for Tech, but I kind of excited to see how that unfolds though for these next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna get on my soapbox here. Obviously, a lot of things are going on with the Baylor AD, Mack Rhoades. He had to step down as the committee chair. That's all the information that I have as well. I think the committee has done themselves an incredible disservice, and they are backing themselves into a corner that they can't dig themselves out of, which is, in order to validate Texas A&M's schedule, because they really haven't played anyone outside of Notre Dame, you have to keep Notre Dame pretty highly ranked. In order to not discredit Notre Dame's losses, like, you got to keep Miami and A&M high. But because you kept Notre Dame high, you now have to reward Miami's win over Notre Dame. So, and the problem that they're backing themselves into is that one of those three teams is going to be on the outside looking in here. And right now it's Miami, but there's a chance it could be Notre Dame at the end of the day, right? But I want people to, like, this is the part where I want people to start thinking about, this is what I get frustrated with, is that they take numerical data, which is good. You should always look at data. You should look at the resumes, right? But you're not taking in the totality of the teams and how they have looked outside of the games of which they played head-to-head, right? There's always a ton of outside factors, right? With Miami, I had this conversation with Hunter from the Green Dog podcast, who was frustrating me here because he said that Miami, who has Miami played? Miami has played technically 3 ranked opponents. Only one has stayed inside the top 25. The other one was a fraud in Florida State, and South Florida they destroyed, right? Totally get your point. That's technically 3 ranked wins. Notre Dame technically has, I believe, 2 ranked wins, but they have played 4 ranked opponents so far. USC, Miami, and not SMU, and Pitt. Pitt was just ranked. Notre Dame's 2 losses are to 2. One of them is a top 3 team in the country. The other loss was to Miami, who's a top 15 team in the country. Miami's 2 losses are to Louisville and SMU, and both those teams are currently unranked. When you start weighing it, you start to see it. Well, Jacob, but the head-to-head. What about the head-to-head? Listen, brother.
There's also conference losses too. But both conference losses to those teams is like kind of not great for your team.
Listen, brother. I hear you on the head-to-head. But until, like, I have to pick between Miami and Notre Dame directly, I think you do have to reward the head-to-head potentially. But when you watch them, and when you look at the totality of the schedule, right? Because guess what? This is what fired me up with Hunter, was that he was like, well, they beat the crap out of USF. And I go, well, Notre Dame just beat the crap out of Navy, who just beat USF. Hunter's response was, well, USF is bad. Can't be doing. You can't do that.
Man.
You see what I'm saying there? See what I'm saying? Like this Notre Dame offense put up 40 points on A&M. And if it wasn't for Marcel Reed going nuclear, like, who knows? They beat Arkansas, SEC team. They beat USC by 10. They beat NC State, who NC State also, I think, beat Louisville. Who they beat? They beat somebody pretty big.
Tech. Beat Tech.
Oh, they beat Tech. My bad. Did not beat Louisville. They beat Tech. Thank you. Oh, NC State also beat Virginia, who beat Louisville, who beat Miami. Like, if we want to do this transitive property stuff, we can do it any which way, right? I'm surgical with this thing, Jay. Right? Yeah. Like, you can't start discrediting everything. Like, when you look at it in totality, Navy and USF literally played each other. Both Notre Dame and Miami played those 2 teams and beat them soundly, right? But because Navy and USF played head-to-head, the Navy win looks better for Notre Dame. But they were ranked. USF was ranked, yeah. Because they beat a Florida team who we over-evaluated in the offseason. Like, there's a lot of issues at play right now from the AP system, from the data-driven. And this is what I've been saying this iteration of the rankings I'm not a fan of because they didn't trust the eye test. When you watch Notre Dame, they are better than BYU. They are better than Utah. They're better than Miami currently. They're better than Vanderbilt, USC. I hate to say it, Drew. They're better than Georgia Tech right now. When you watch, it'd be a great matchup. I'll tune in. But I didn't say they were gonna beat them by 1,000. I'm just saying, if I had to take a team, I'm taking Notre Dame from what I'm watching. Jeremiah Love is getting going. CJ Carr is getting comfortable, and the defense is stepping up. The Marcus Freeman way.
So, Jacob, for the listeners here, who's your one pick for a team to kind of jump in, make a last spot bid for the playoffs? Then
last bid,
last spot, kind of like fringy team to get in.
Man. You got to look at Utah or BYU because if they get into that Big 12 title game and beat Tech, you have a problem on your hands because you're going to have to put in both those teams. But you still have the ACC winner somewhere in the mix. So then you have, again, the Notre Dame-Oklahoma debacle of who gets in. I think Alabama being at 10 is ridiculous. Yes, did they have a bad loss against Florida State? I agree. But they beat Georgia on the road, they beat Vanderbilt, they beat Mizzou on the road, and they beat Tennessee. And then they lost by 2 to Oklahoma. I think you're over-punishing Alabama out of nowhere. I think Oklahoma and Bama should be flipped. I think Notre Dame should be at 10, Oklahoma at 9, Bama at 8. And I think they should be higher than Oregon, but I guess you have to respect Oregon being a one-loss team. But at the same juncture, then BYU and Utah should be ranked higher too. But I think if you got to keep an eye on BYU and Utah, just because if there's some real craziness in the ACC, they're going to benefit greatly from that. But if they beat Texas Tech, we have real chaos because then you're leaving out the Oklahoma, Notre Dame, or Alabama. But Oklahoma has to play Mizzou and LSU, so there's a good chance that can shake itself out. But then you have a Texas problem on the outside. If they somehow go in and beat A&M, you have bigger issues, right? You have a Vanderbilt problem. We're having all these conversations, Drew. I've seen it with Josh Pate. I've seen it with Part of My Take. I've seen it with the Russillo Show. A lot of these big media companies are really worried about these 8-2 teams. I am not. The only 8-2 team I'm really worried about right now is Utah. Because Miami needs a lot of help to get into the playoff. Because unless they play in the ACC championship, they don't have a way in. Vanderbilt, they played one serious opponent. They played their big opponents. And they played Bama, LSU. LSU, fraud. They fired their coach. If you fired your coach, they played a number 10 LSU team. They're not number 10. So they were 10 at the time. Right? So they're going to get all these big ranked wins. But Vanderbilt isn't that good. They played Bama and Texas and got boat raced in both games. They barely survived Mizzou, and they played dirty to beat Mizzou. South Carolina was frauds, and so were LSU. So Vanderbilt doesn't impress me. But watching Utah is impressive. BYU's been impressive, and BYU's only loss is to Tech. So if they could avenge that loss in the Big 12 title game, there's a lot of issues at hand. And I still think without a shred of doubt, Ohio State's the best team in the country. It's not even close.
Speaking of fire coaches, Jacob, how do you like the James Franklin Virginia Tech?
Called it.
Been
calling it day one on this show. It's too perfect of a fit for both sides. He goes to a place at a school where the pressure's not going to be that hard on him. It's not going to be that high. But he's going to get a long runway to turn that program around. And the thing is, Virginia Tech's not expecting national titles. Versus, if he was to go to a Florida or an Arkansas, that's the expectation. Versus at Virginia Tech, if you get us to an ACC championship contention, that's pretty good for them. I think it's a home run for both sides.
Yeah, like I too. It's also such a great environment too for fans for football. So it's great culture thing for him with the Hokies, and should be a fun ACC competition in the coming years.
Let's talk some puck here. I believe that's what I had on the docket, is talk some puck. Am I wrong? Yes. The NHL Drew, did you know they were in Sweden the other day? The NHL right now. I want to say this because I love the NHL and I love hockey so much. I want to preface that. I don't want to come on here and bash it because that feels rude to the sport of what hockey is. But the people in the league office of the NHL are terrible at marketing everything. Like, it is outrageous how bad they are. Like, you didn't even know, Drew, that they were in Sweden for 2 days. Like, it was the Predator. Like, I get it that it's like not a incredible whatever, but like you gotta reward it, right?
Yeah, compare like NFL's London game to like this is like that wasn't like 2 weeks ahead. Like this happened. Like this is like hard to really follow. So I don't know if it's a league thing. Is it a TV thing? What's the problem? Do you think?
They broadcast it on NHL Network. So it's a frustrating endeavor. I mean, listen, man, there's also, and the thing I want to talk about hockey too, because he did a good job marketing it the other year, talking about like we're entering the golden generation of hockey, because we are. The youth movement of the NHL is arriving. Macklin Celebrini is 19, and he is third in points with the Sharks. And Celebrini is still one of the best players I've ever witnessed. Connor Bedard, 10 goals, had a hat trick the other night, 26 points. Leo Carlson's having a breakout year right now, 26 points for Anaheim, right? The youth movement has arrived with those three, right? Nylander, Pasternak, they're a little bit older, but they're still right there, right? But Martin, Nekis, Cale Makar are up there in the mix. But the youth movement is here. It is here. Cutter Gauthier is top 22 in points with 22 of them, right? The youth movement is here, and like you're not seeing anything of it. Like,
I saw an article, Jacob, on Sports Business Journal about the most next marketable NHL star. Who do you think it was that they said the next marketable NHL star?
I would hope they said Bedard.
They did not say Bedard.
Who?
Matthew Schaefer.
Yeah, he's great too. Matthew Schaefer's incredible. He's, for an 18-year-old, he looks like a 5-year veteran. Like, he is so smooth skating. He's a real difference maker with the puck for the Islanders. I do think he's the next big star potentially. But Bedard's on the pedestal. Like, he needs to be your next McDavid. Because McDavid and McKinnon are on a crash course to be the next Crosby and Ovechkin. Like how, like you see how that should be. Like, anytime Colorado and Edmonton play, it should be the biggest deal in the world on that day, because they're the next two legends in line after Crosby and Ovechkin. I've been super impressed with a lot of teams. Like, I mean, I don't even know where we want to begin. Right? Like, I've been super impressed with Lucas Dostal of Anaheim, man. Has looked incredible. Incredible. Scott Wedgwood looks good. Vejmelka, Utah, looks good. Swayman looks back, but the problem is Boston in general is bad. It's just like there's poor marketing, and the thing is, the NHL has natural organic marketing when something amazing happens, which was did you see the video of Detroit and the New York Rangers have this like big brawl in those throwback uniforms, which were absolute sex?
Nope, I saw the Capitals goalie fight though last week.
But there should be a lot of things happening. Like, I hate to say it, but like there's a lot of eyes on the Panthers and the Leafs, but they're towards the bottom of their division. And the Bruins and Red Wings are having really unprecedented success. The Capitals, you know it, they're currently dead last in their division with 20 points. Could have fooled me, though,
Man.
because I don't hear anything about the Penguins or Islanders. St. Louis Blues are incredibly bad. I don't know how. And, like, San Jose's not bad. San Jose looks good. Anaheim Ducks are amazing. I thought there'd be a playoff team, but I didn't think they would be at the top of their division. The NHL has a poor marketing problem. And the problem is when you're in a good hockey market, like I live near Dallas, and that's a good hockey market. Like, it's small, it's dedicated, and everyone is passionate. And everyone who is passionate about hockey knows that this is a massive problem. They can't figure it out. I know it's a long season, and then everyone gets to May, and it's like the NHL playoffs are the best thing ever, and they are. But, like, I love watching a Thursday night hockey game when, especially if it's the young guys, because then you get to see them skate, and it's exciting, and you get to move. They have a real marketing problem because they were in Sweden and nobody freaking knew about it.
Yeah, apparently, in the article, the five most discussed NHL players are Connor McDavid, Sidney Crosby, Austin Matthews, and Jack Hughes. Apparently, Schaefer has social media following 59 million people for 59 million views. So like he's the next big social media star, but just like the lack of awareness of us, the fans, doing that stuff, it kind of hurts. I think the sport of it, but hopefully they kind of like figure out a way to like highlight that and kind of give us that awareness via social media or the games or like some kind of solution to this kind of weird problem.
Who were the top 5 again, you said?
Okay, so among top 5, including Schaefer, is McDavid, Sidney Crosby, Austin Matthews, and Jack Hughes.
They've had a chance to do Jack Hughes. He's just not healthy. I think the next big star for the NHL is, I hate to say it, will be Celebrini. I think it will be Celebrini or Bedard. They're incredible. Last little bit here, let's talk about some MLB storylines to watch because we're approaching the winter meetings here in December coming up. Is it December they have the winter meetings, or is it in January? It's December.
It's usually December, yeah.
A lot of free agency moves that are going to be happening here. I believe free agency kicks off here shortly. We're starting to see a lot of acquisitions via trade and some unofficial moves. Josh Naylor and the Mariners have finalized a 5-year, $92 million contract with a full no-trade clause. A big get for the Mariners. Ryan Yarbrough going back to the Bronx. Apparently there was a offer sheet. Trent Grisham, Gleyber Torres, Woodruff, and Shota all accepted their qualifying offers, which means they will return to their teams. The Angels did receive Grayson Rodriguez, and the Orioles received Taylor Ward. Those are kind of the big ones as of right now. Obviously, we knew Bregman opted out of his contract. Apparently, free agency has already began.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked to see the Orioles trade away Grayson Rodriguez, kind of one of the big pitching arms in the system. They kind of lost that in the season. It's probably needs trading away seems weird to me, but the biggest story is probably Chuck Scooby. He's supposed to stay in Detroit, but never know. If you could guess, Jacob, if he wanted to go somewhere else, where would you think we could be a good fit for him? You think next year, Chuck Scooby?
For Scooby, man, I want Scooby to stay in Detroit. I think it's good for the game when a guy stays at a small market. If he goes to New York or goes to LA, I'll tell you right now, it's just so bad for the game of baseball. But at the same time, who can stop him? Right? If the team doesn't want to pay your 2-time Cy Young pitcher, someone will. I would love, I'm going to go a little bit off the beaten path here. I think a team that would love a Scooby that could probably afford it without, destroying, their entire franchise. Man, if the Red Sox could figure out a way to get Scooby, would be you just elevate the star power immediately. You have Crochet. Now you add in another Haas, right? The problem is I'm trying to think of teams who don't have a true ace. The problem is I think the Dodgers show that you can have more than one ace, right? Because they have Snell, they have Yamamoto,
Glasnow,
Ohtani. I wouldn't be surprised if the Padres throw him all the money, because they want to beat the Dodgers. I think a perfect fit for Scooby would be Atlanta. I think you pair him up with Sale. Atlanta's going to be fully healthy. They had a massive pitching problem, but if you can go 1-2 with Chris Sale and Scooby,
and Strider,
and then you can mix in Strider, you can mix in some, Hurston Waldrop had a good set of innings. That's where I could potentially see him. None of these teams in the NL Central are going to go after Scooby, so I'm not, the Brewers aren't going to spend the money, the Cardinals are in a rebuild, the Reds aren't going to spend the money, the Pirates are definitely not going to spend the money, and, the Cubs don't even want to re-sign Kyle Tucker, so, they're not spending the money. And if a team wants to go all in, it'll be the Giants, too. with the Padres.
Another big name too. You can mention it briefly is Kyle Tucker. You know, the Cubs got him this year. He had a great first half, got injured second half. I want to see him stay in Chicago. You know, that'd be a great place for him to kind of be with that Cubs culture. Maybe build a contending team next year. What'd you see from Kyle Tucker? Did you like him as a Cub? Do you want him to go somewhere else?
I want him to. The problem is, if he wanted to stay a Cub, they both sides would have figured it out, right? It's obvious Kyle Tucker doesn't want to stay. I think Kyle Tucker wants the bag, and he's going to be a Dodger. It's as simple as that, man. They're going to round out that outfield with Teoscar Hernandez. They're putting Kyle Tucker, who was playing at an MVP level before he got hurt. It makes. I hate to say it, but he's more than likely going to be a Dodger, and if he's not a Dodger, he'll be a Giant.
I hate that, you know, with the new Buster Posey, and then you'll have Tony Vitello, the new manager from Tennessee, is now the Giants manager now. Kind of trendy news recently. A lot of folks kind of unsure about that, you know, move of him being like no pro experience, going to an MLB team, kind of like is a weird fast track to be in. I think that you need to like have at least some like minor league experience, like paying your dues that way. But how do you feel about that the college coast straight to MLB fast track?
Yeah. I will say this is one of the more interesting free agency classes that I'm reading through. Like right now Schwarber, he's got to stay in Philly. He loves it there. The fans love him, but it's the championship window for Schwarber. Cody Bellinger's a free agent. He opted out with the Yankees. You know, I don't know where he goes, if I'm being quite honest with you. He was a good outfielder, but they loved the bat. The bat was a big part of what got Bellinger like back into things. I could see Bellinger return to Chicago, and kind of be that replacement for Kyle Tucker at a little bit of a cheaper price point. I'm reading here that he could be the Mets, which would be cool. He could go to Philly if Philly wants to get another big bat to replace Schwarber with a serviceable outfielder.
I'll guess D-backs for him, for D-backs for
D-backs
Bellinger.
would be good. Ranger Suarez, I think, goes to either Detroit or Toronto as like a number 2 or a number 3. Framber Valdez is on here. We've talked about Eugenio Suarez. Alex Bregman opted out with the Red Sox, but I think he goes back to Boston. I just think he wants more money, so that's why he opted out. He's a good defenseman. The Boston fans love him. He loves Boston. So I think that will be a good fit for him. If it's not that, I would love to see him go play in Philly. But the problem is that means you got to move Bohm. But I don't know if Philly fans are like that upset that they got to get rid of Alec Bohm.
No, he's not that big of a star to kind of like keep for long term. I think honestly, he's a serviceable guy, but he's no like got to be extended for 6 years. It's not him at all.
Pete Alonso, I don't think goes back to the Mets. Pete Alonso and the Mets, I think their relationship is ruined. I think Pete has been a big like, what more do I have to prove to you to show you that I deserve the money? And the Mets have gone in different directions. So I just don't think the Mets and them see eye to eye. I would love if he goes to the Texas Rangers. Indoor ballpark, doesn't have to deal with the elements, fixes their first base problem /DH. The Rangers seem like a really good fit for Pete Alonso. And you get to play in the AL West. Like, you get some really hitter-friendly ballparks there as well.
I honestly love the Giants for him in San Fran.
Yep.
That'd be a great fit for him, I think, honestly.
Yep. Bo Bichette, I don't know where he goes. Defensively, he's not good. Not been great, let me say. So some teams may want to move him to second or third. I'm seeing Giants and Royals as the 2 options here on this article I'm reading. Who have you seen?
I'll ask you, Jacob, which team has the most glaring shortstop hole in the last 6 years?
The Atlanta Braves?
No, not them.
Last 6 years? Shortstop problem?
Like some legal stuff happening that cost them 6 years.
The Rays, yeah.
Tampa Bay Rays, Bo Bichette, Tampa guy, come back to the Rays is my prediction.
Dylan Cease is the free agent. This is kind of just, we're making a bunch of predictions now. But, I mean, it's Cease, you have Zach Gallen, You have a Munetaka Murakami, third baseman, first baseman from Japan. If I butchered it, I apologize. Like, there's some big Japanese players coming over. I think you just have to keep an eye on a lot of things here. Not exactly sure of where things are going. I think one team to keep an eye on in terms of who's going to be a big seller at the winter meetings, it will be the Cardinals. I've been reading a lot of reports that Brendan Donovan is on the market. He is on the market. The Cardinals want a lot for him. They kind of got burned by the Tommy Edman deal. They don't want that to happen again, from what I am reading. The Cardinals, I think, are going to try and move Sonny Gray as well, because I think Sonny Gray wants to try and win a ring, so they might move him. Jordan Walker has been mentioned because he hasn't been able to figure it out in the big leagues yet.
Do you want them to keep JoJo or no?
Yeah, I think so. I think you can't. This is where I get. Here's the thing, Kyle Bloom, if you think about it, is the reason where the Red Sox are today. If you really think about it, with Roman
And the Rays too.
The Cardinals got a really good third baseman, Blaze Jordan from the Red Sox. So, like, we have some guys in the pipeline that will be really good. Like, here's the thing. I think the Cardinals know that they got some really talented youth guys. Problem is, you got a lot of old heads in the way. Because I think what they're going to end up doing is they're going to call up Weatherholt next season. And Weatherholt's going to be playing second with Mason Wynn. At some point, I don't know the Blaze Jordan thing. I think we still got to wait and see on him. But if he makes it up, like, he's playing third, I mean. At first base, you have Contreras. Defensively, catcher-wise, like, you have Herrera. But, like, if you think about it, this past year, the Cardinals trotted out 3 catchers to hit. And
Pozo.
and Pozo. And statistically, the catchers are the worst hitting position in baseball. So, it's either I want Contreras to go back to being a DH, or I'm not like we signed Contreras to be the Molina replacement. I want Molina to eventually manage the team, if I'm being quite honest with you, him or Pujols. And yeah, I think the Ollie Marmol experiment is over. You just can't trot out that team this past year out there again. I think the ownership knows that they can't do that. Like, if I have to watch Miles Michaelis pitch another game, I think I might lose it. But I know I'm going to. But
Because like this season, like there made no moves at all, like in the offseason to like improve the roster at all, which was kind of baffling because the year prior they added like Lance Lynn, Kyle Gibson, and Sonny Gray. Like they made the pitching improvements. I wonder if how much they're gonna make actually some legit moves to kind of help them, jumpstart their team for 2026.
yeah, and I mean the Cardinals got some guys in the minors too. Like, they got Quinn Matthews, who needs to figure it out. Like, he was looking really good. And then yep, he's another great one. Like, those guys got to get up further before you can start talking. The problem was Liberatore was solid, Sonny Gray was Sonny Gray, right? But then you got to Andre Palante and Miles Michaelis, and you're just trotting these guys out who are batting practice. They're batting practice. Like, it was very, very frustrating as a fan. And then the hitting sucked, man. Like, I don't know what's going on with Jordan Walker. He's another failed Dylan Carlson, another failed Cardinals prospect. Even though he was ranked like he was mashing in AAA. But then he gets up to the big leagues and he doesn't know how to hit. And then Mozeliak just yo-yos him. Yeah, Alec Burleson is solid. Mason Wynn's good. The problem is, too, Victor Scott II's a great defensive outfielder. Problem is, he hits a .181.
It's kind of like Kiermaier kind of with the Rays, I guess. In a way.
Yeah, and then you got some random dude in left field. Like, I think for me as a Cardinals fan, what do I want to see? I want to see moves made in this offseason here that clearly tell me where you're gonna go for the next couple years. Like, I know we're not making the playoffs next year. I want to see moves that tell me immediately we're not making playoffs. Because we're trying to build for the next couple years. We're going to have to blow it up. Brendan Donovan's, he's gone, dude. He's gone.
Newbar probably.
Nootbaar is gone. That's who the other outfielder was. I was blanking on his name. Lars Nootbaar's out of there. Arenado, man, I think it's starting to understand that he has to leave. Sonny Gray wants out. So we have a ton of big pieces to get rid of. The question is anyone willing to trade with us and willing to give up the capital to get what we need done? That part I don't know. Yeah.
On the bright side, though, the Trop is back in action next year. Tropicana Field's back and having the Braves play at home, though, so back to the lovely the lovely bridge drives to the games now.
You know it, man. I'm trying to pull up a Jeff Passan article talking about who can the Cardinals, maybe get. I mean, there's so many guys on the market that the Cardinals can go after. I'm trying to read here. The Cardinals are open for business. Arenado is most certainly to waive his no trade clause. Contreras could too. The biggest prize is Brendan Donovan, whose departure could pave the way for ascent of top prospect J.J. Weatherholt. Other moves could include Romero and Nolan. Cardinals are open for business. Fleece me.
Yeah, Scherzer.
I wouldn't hate that.
He's free agent.
I'm cool with it. Yeah, man, I'd be cool with it. It's not a big deal to me. I mean, there's so many, Joe Ryan, I think, is also in the free agency mix, right? Or he's on the trade.
Mm-hmm.
What is he, free agent?
Yeah, I think so.
But, there's Ozuna, Yastrzemski, Castro, Snyder. Hoskins, Lane Thomas can come back. Goldie, Kepler, Conforto. Free agency pitching, Valdez, Cease, Zach Gallen, Suarez. Merrill could come be a Cardinal. I'm cool with it. Chris Bassett can be a Cardinal. Zach Littell, Adrian Hauser, Scherzer, Verlander, any of these guys can be a Cardinal. Lugo, Clay Holmes, come back home. Do we bring back Jordan Hicks? God, I hope not. We still have there's a lot of good relievers out there. I mean, you can go get a guy we had Phil Maton, and we gave him up. Steven Matz, Taylor Rogers, Trevor Rogers. I mean, there's plenty of stuff out there for the Cardinals. I think, and this is the Cardinals' long-winded way of talking here because this is also a Cardinals podcast now for the last 20 minutes. But you just have to make moves to stay competitive. And the thing is, I'm cool with trading Brendan Donovan if it means we get back a ton of stuff. We're going to trade Arenado, so we're going to get some stuff back there. I want Contreras off my books. I want a lot of dudes off because I'm you guys failed at what we were trying to build. I want you gone so we can build it up. And if you're in the way being we're not going to waive our no trade clause, you're being selfish.
How do you like the new MLB TV deals? They recently had deals with NBC Universal, Netflix, and ESPN. Looks like Netflix will get the Home Run Derby. Looks like Field of Dreams game opening night. So I like the streaming kind of way of MLB events.
Just don't black out my games, and we'll be okay.
Agreed.
Well, a little bit longer episode here. A lot of tangents coming from my side of the hall, but that's okay. He has been the Spinnaker Swiss Army Knife, Drew McDonald. I have been Jacob Trail. Like, comment, share, and subscribe on all platforms, dropping new episodes every Friday. We have been The Deal with D and J.